What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So we're out in the shop tonight. Been working on the 5610 here a little bit, working on the fenders. I was originally going to buy 2 new fenders and 2 new fender brackets that I have laid over here in the floor, but I have decided to try to repair what I have and only buy 1 fender bracket because of the cost of the stuff. If you just need 1, they're really that bad, but along with everything else that I have going on with this tractor, there's an opportunity to save some money. These here, the cheapest I found, are 150 a piece. The fenders are about 250 a piece. So if you figure that up, that's without tax or without freight. So that's 800 bucks. So if you add tax and freight, you know, you're going to be up there pretty close to $1,000 bucks. So if I only have to buy 1 of these, and I can fix this one because this one's in the best shape, I'm going to cut the center out of the other one over here that's not in good shape. Use the metal from that to fix this, and then I've already been working on the fenders over there. This one here is not worth fixing. You could fix it if there was none available, but for the time that it would take to fix this, I believe it's worth just paying the extra, you know, 150 bucks and getting a new one because it's twisted and everything else. This one here can be fixed. The main structure is still pretty good. I can just fix this around here. That'll be good to go. The fenders, I've got this one here that I've been working on a little bit. It had this rotted section right here where the toolbox was on the fender that I cut out. Let's see. Yeah, that was, well, like this. So that was like that right there. So I cut that out and replaced that section. It's not perfect, but it's a tractor, not a Ferrari. And we're not going to any tractor shows with this, so it just needs to be somewhat decent-ish. I mean, I'm not done with this here. I just sprayed a little bit of primer I had in a can over there on it, but I'm going to sand this and put a little more primer and build it up a little bit. I did use a flat disc on a grinder trying to get some of these pit marks and stuff out of here. I don't know if the camera's even picking that up, but I'll fill most of that in, what was left of it, with the primer, and I'll sand this with a DA sander. Got a little bit of fixing right here to do where that crease is at. I'll put a block of wood under here and bump on that with a hammer and get that straightened out. And just a little curve right here. Other than that, it's coming along pretty good. And there'll be a toolbox. I'm going to get another toolbox and put right here in the same spot so it'll cover up the imperfections. I mean, if I really wanted to, I could get some Bondo and really make this a lot better than it is, but it's a tractor fender. It's not, like I say, it's not a Ferrari or anything, or a classic car that we're working on here. The metal's a little thin in some of these spots here. It's been rusted through. I'm not going to worry about that a whole lot. As I say, it's just a tractor fender. So this is the other fender over here, that I was going to also replace. It is bent, or was bent. I've actually straightened it back out. This here was bent all the way over, as well as this down here where this crease line is at. It was folded all the way over where they run into something. Other than that, this fender is solid. It's no rust or anything on it, or very minimal. So it should clean up pretty well. I took a hammer and everything and straightened it back out. Good enough for a tractor fender. I got to get it all washed up and cleaned up and get the rust sanded off of it, the surface rust sanded off of it and whatnot. It'll be fine, even though it's a little bit wrinkled up down there. You know, that won't be very noticeable at all for what it is. So that'll save probably $700 and something, maybe even closer to $800 time you figure the freight and the tax and everything on it by going ahead and refurbishing this. So there's what the inside of the repair looks like right there that I have not touched up or painted yet. Looks like I could have come down just a little bit further with this patch piece. Got a little hole right there. As I say, it's a tractor fender. It's not the end of the world. And there's going to be a toolbox that mounts back in the same spot. And so yeah, and the tire, you know, obviously is up in here, so that will not be too noticeable. I'm probably not even going to worry about trying to really do anything more to that. I think it'll be just fine. Serve purpose of a tractor fender and save some money at the same time. Say if we can save $700 or $800, you know, without it looking terrible, that'll be the route we go. There was a dent right there. I've got most of that out, where it doesn't look too bad. All right, so that's our bracket that we're not going to use, our fender bracket. Cut the center out of it, as I say, so we can use that piece of metal that's 3/16 plate, and I don't have any. So I'm going to take that piece, and then we're going to cut this over here apart and fix that up so it'll be usable. Shouldn't take too long to do that. Save $150 there. Our fenders, I sprayed them with some black paint, and I'm going to let it dry. It's got dust and stuff all over it. Anyway, some runs and stuff in it, but the main goal of this, I went over this with the flat disc, with a 60 grit flat disc, and the main goal of spraying this with the paint was to fill in some of the imperfections, and then I'd come back and sand it with say a 200 grit or something like that, and you know, have something to fill in some of the imperfections and stuff in the metal. You generally would use primer for this, but I don't have any primer, but I did have some black paint. So I just put a pretty good heavy coat of black paint on here. I'll come back, sand this down after it cures, and then hopefully we'll have a semi-flat-ish surface. I mean, these are not going to be as, you know, good as new, obviously, but I think they're going to be just fine for a tractor. This is the one that I fixed here. I don't know, you can kind of see a little bit of the weld right there. Not real well. It's covered up pretty good, but the weld line's somewhere right down through there and across here and back up here. So once you get a toolbox mounted to that, that will cover that up pretty well. And as I say, I think I can find somewhere else to put $700 in this project, other than some sheet metal that's probably going to get dented at some point anyways. All right, guys, so I'm just cutting this right here out. As you see, I measured up. I would have went to that bin right there and cut it, but I don't have quite enough metal to do that, I don't believe. So I just cut that right there. I'm going to cut across the bottom of here, cut this other one down the other side over here, and then we'll be ready to start cutting that piece of plate up, putting it in here. Alright guys, so I've about got my puzzle pieces cut here. This piece right here, the inner bracket, is really thin on this back side, and I may have to take a piece of flat bar or something over there, and I don't know, I may just lay it inside of here and weld it on the inside. I don't know, it's pretty thin right there. I may have to do a little bit with that. I didn't realize it was quite as thin as it was. But anyways, I may have to do something with that. But I got these pieces here cut so that they kind of line up like so. Something like that. Take a little fitting and a little tweaking to get them in there to fit this back around like it was with some good metal. But that's what I'm about to do now, is kind of get that tacked into place and go from there. Alright guys, so I just happen to have a piece of 3/8 flat bar here. I'm going to mark this out and make a bracket right here. I guess I'll cut it here on each side, and I'm going to bend this here. Or actually, I may just squirt with a grinder and sort of bend that mark, make it a little easier. Somewhere in there. And we do it like that right there. Bend it, fit me a bracket, make me a bracket so I can replace that. I really didn't have that in mind, but that's kind of what it needs. Alright guys, I've got this scored with a grinder, and my hope is I can heat it up a little bit with this MAP gas torch. I do have an oxy propane set up. I don't really feel like dragging it all out, hooking it up. I'm trying to heat it up with this MAP gas torch, and where I scored it with a grinder and smack it down with a hammer, and hopefully that'll get us. Okay, let's try that again. more of a break than a bend. Looks like to me. Break clean off, I think. Didn't work quite as well as I thought it might. Oh well. Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and drill our holes in here before I cut this bracket off and make it impossible to do so. These brackets right here that I have laying here, I've built for, this is going to be the rollover protection for the canopy and stuff. That's what these plates are for. They're supposed to go around the axle, one on top, one on the bottom. The rollover protection will mount on top of this. The fender bracket should mount on top of this in the other hole, and then up under the bottom the bolts come up and go that way. So that's the plan anyways. Hopefully this lines up right. This is about to get to the point where it would have been worth it just to pay the 150 bucks and get an extra bracket, because I didn't realize it was quite this bad until I got it cut apart here. Alright guys, so this is our bracket here that I got finished up. This was way more trouble and work than what it was worth, I believe, to save 150 bucks. But I did it anyways because I was already started on it, and so went ahead and finished it up. It don't look half bad for old fender bracket, I guess. Way better than that patch job that the other people did. So that should be just as strong as it was. I only drilled two holes in this one as opposed to 4, and hopefully that is in the correct spot, but it should be all pretty well square and even and level and all that jazz. So, a little bit more trouble than it was worth, but that should save 150 bucks, and we can put that somewhere else. So I'll get that primed up and painted, finish cleaning it up and whatnot. And that'll be one of our fender brackets we don't have to buy.